Mr. Kraus, they've also made available on the screens for you as well as any member of the public. They've put up on the screens on the side here for you or any member of the public that's can't locate the redevelopment plan. This is the township website. Load it right now, and it shows where the plan was posted on March 19th.
If I can just add to that, the revisions that Mr. Kirsch spoke about, Mr. Kraut, were provided by Mr. Sullivan, and he provided those, and that was posted on the website at 12:13 p.m. today.
I understand. That's what you said.
And then
I'm looking at the Google Drive that basically has planning board documents currently listed. This is live, and I'm looking at the subdirectory that's labeled Areas in Need of Redevelopment Projects, and there are 3 documents listed there. None of those documents, they all are prefaced by the letters A, I, N, R, and it concerns the 3 sites that the council has, I don't know, all of them have been approved for further redevelopment authorization for a new plan, but that's all that's there right this very moment.
Mr. President,
what we're seeing on this screen is live, and that is the document that we're referencing, and that's the document that I handed you a copy of.
It could be stuff somewheres on your website, but if it's not visible in the places that people are accustomed to looking, then it might as well not be posted. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we've not had any issues with that.
I called so many times today, and there was absolutely no effort to clarify where it
That's not true, Mr. Trout. Ms. Bueno from my office called you back and told you it was on the website. I didn't speak to you myself, but you were given that information, and tonight I gave you a copy. The original version was posted on the website on March the 10th. I emailed you a copy of it. You received that?
And that is the only copy that I received.
Well, and I gave you one
I
tonight.
had no idea it was on the website.
And I gave you one
It was
tonight.
never posted in the area of the website called
No,
planning.
that's not the case.
documents.
That's not the case.
Really, this is a consistent problem.
Mr. Kraus.
You guys need to do a much better job making sure that the public at least has access to this stuff.
Mr. Kraus, thank you for your input. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council? Please come forward.
I would still like to get an answer on this 50-foot thing. I really would.
I think Mr. Sullivan will be making a presentation later in the agenda, and he'll likely address it then.
and there will be a public hearing in a future meeting.
I just want to, if I could just, I want to thank you, sir, for always being an active member of our community. You know, I was on the zoning board over 13 years ago, and I served 10 years. And is it Mr. Kraus? Is it Kraus? How do you say your last name? How do you say his last name? Huh? Yes, Mr. Kraut, yes. Yeah, he always used to come to the zoning board meeting and always provided respectable comment. I don't remember if I always agreed with you or not, but I know you've always been an active member of our community and always cared deeply about our quality of life. And I want to thank you for coming here tonight and expressing your comments, and also being active with the planning board and zoning board meetings. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to have it more interactive.
Proceed, please.
Good evening. 3 quick points. I wanted to add my congratulations to Officer Noah.
Name and address.
I've heard different pronunciations of his last name, so I hope I get it right. Alawat?
Ali.
Yeah?
Alat.
Alat. Okay. Thank you.
Noah.
Noah, yes, Officer Noah. Obviously his professional training and experience showed on that event, but it's his character that clearly from the family that surrounded him tonight it was from, and it's great to see somebody who's really living up to his character and the training and the experience. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, in the reports this evening.
Your name and address, please.
Oh, I wrote it down. Anthony
you have to
Troyan,
state it.
654 Stangel Road, Martinsville, New Jersey. Proud resident over 30 years. My second point was that during the reports, there were a couple of comments made about the most recent Board of Education meeting and a particular policy. I've certainly attended my share of Board of Ed meetings, and certain policies or activities can certainly bring out the emotions of everyone involved. But I would be cautious about disparaging another public entity's actions and work on a policy that I understand is largely mandated by state guidance, and therefore limits the ability of the Board of Ed or its staff to run counter to that jurisdictionally. And in particular, it's disappointing to hear that kind of disparagement, especially when it brings me to my third point, which is the House needs to be in order, I think, before criticism of another public entity is made. And there's a draft resolution in the documents, but it's not appearing on the agenda, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to comment on it.
What is your comment?
12D. So if I'm reading this correct, it's a procedural resolution that acknowledges the modification of the due dates for the annual municipal budget. If I'm reading it correctly, out of the 4 deadlines, we've missed 2. Maybe the budget will be introduced before March 31st, but I'm not aware of it. And this...
The actual dates as specified in the package, because for introduction would be the 31st, because
Yes.
it's the meeting
Yes.
after whatever, and adoption would be the 30th of
Right, exactly. And so
Okay.
I'm not aware of a meeting between tonight and the 31st
There is
of the
none.
council, so I'm assuming we're going to not be able to meet the 3rd deadline. And this would be the 5th year in a row that a municipal budget has not been presented to the public on time. And I can't express enough my disappointment in that. I'm not quite understanding.
Ma'am, you have made that very clear, not only tonight, but last time and the time before that. So we
Well, I believe in
understand your comments.
consistency. And I'm also concerned that there are ramifications for that on the body. The local finance board notes that there's a personal penalty for
Yes, there are.
individuals, but I think it's also an issue that affects our rating potentially, together with the audits and other documents. And it's frustrating to have to pay our property taxes and sewer utility taxes on time, but not really be able to participate as mandated in the process. So that was my third point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President, just for clarification, the rating would not be affected by this, nor would any audit proceeding.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? Come forward, please.
David Klesick, 215 Woodside Lane. I know Mr. Kirsch and Mr. Pappas was at the meeting on Tuesday night, as well as Mr. Sullivan. I would just like to, I'm sorry, I regretted not asking some questions or making some points, but I'm bringing up about the cul-de-sac with the 3 additional building lots there, about emergency access or any direct type of access to that. There was a point about no access from Adamsville Road. I just want to make sure that there is no type of permanent access. I don't care about emergency vehicles. Whatever goes forward, that should be incorporated into the thought of the process. Also, too, is in all the previous applications from the Gray Mark properties, the office buildings, the hotels, some were approved, some were not, and there was never mention about building any extra 3 homes within that property. So I think it should be eliminated or at least decreased. I did bring an old newspaper up to me because I've lived on the street since 1986 and I've been a resident of Bridgewater since 1955. Originally, it was zoned R20, and much to our chagrin, it was voted to change it to R10 in like 92 or 93. At first, it was voted down. Within the year, council had readdressed it, and then it was approved for the developers in the area to change the zoning of that. And part of the zoning of R20 is to keep the area more rural looking. Yes, there are subsized lots on Woodside Lane, but as I said, though, is I'm going to make the emphasis is all the previous applications from the gray mark properties, including the warehouse, there has been no residential mention on adding lots to Woodside Lane. And one final thought is when we were rezoned, I remember is the planner then, I think was Michael Sarkeesian, and somebody from the council or planning board had said is how many additional homes if we changed the zoning, and the reply by Michael Sarkeesian was 1 additional lot to be developed, and now you're talking about another 3. I could see 1, I could see 2, not 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Let's wait till everybody's had a first chance. Curtis.
I think it's the longest street, Washington Valley Road. So I'm here to actually, we were remiss when we did not invite, Friends of Bridgewater History. That's the role I'm in tonight. We didn't invite you to the journey through the past, so we are having a talk on Camp Cromwell, formerly known as Northover, and we'd like to formally invite a member of the council to come. The mayor is either coming himself.
Give them to the clerk, please.
Jane, I'm sorry, what's the date?
April 29th. So the mayor or a member of his staff is going to give an update from what's happening with Cromwell from your perspective. And this is just a lot of the history of it with pictures and explanations. So you're all cordially invited, and we hope to see someone. That was it.
Thank you.
What time on the 29th?
7.
Thank you.
Anyone besides Mr. Kraus?
This is open to the public, correct? The event's open to the public.
I should just get a stamp. Hi, Kathy Franco, Weemac Road. So I'm going to try and do this in agenda order. Item number 5 was councilman's reports, and tonight one of the councilmen chose to read a statement which he had already read at a Board of Education meeting. I was glad to see that that councilman went to a Board of Education meeting and shared his opinion there. I was not sure when he presented that opinion if it was as a parent or as a town council member, because he introduced himself as both. However, it is my opinion that sharing those concerns in this forum, because it has to do with the policy of the Board of Education, is inappropriate. Especially when the issue of gender-neutral bathrooms has not been addressed within our township municipal buildings. Nor are we addressing the issues of gender when it comes to recreation in our township's wards. So I would ask that if somebody is going to speak on issues related to the Board of Education, they do it at the Board of Education. And that also goes for item number 6, when it relates to the mayor. If he has things to say about something with the Board of Education, I would hope that he would go to the Board of Education as a parent and share his concerns in that forum. Item number 7, I want to thank Officer Noah a lot. I hope I pronounced that right. As well as all of the Bridgewater Police Department, all of the volunteer first responders who serve our township 24/7, 365. I don't know what we would do without all of you every day. Item 11A, ordinance introduction for the redevelopment plan. I think it lacks some transparency on the agenda tonight, as it only listed the lot and block numbers. It did not list the street address or the commonly known address of Graymark. So I think that just for the public information, I think it would be helpful. I know on the planning board, it did at least include the street address, but on tonight's town council.
Street address is on.
Street address is on the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe, I apologize. I don't know if it always did, but thank you. I appreciate you pointing that out. I do know that the planning board spent a lot of time listening to the public comment. I did appreciate the fact that much of what was said during that public comment was listened to, was incorporated in what I hope would be the changes. But I do agree with Mr. Curtis Kraut that the most recent changes cannot easily be found on the website. I know I looked this evening before I came to this meeting. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's attached as part of the resolution. I don't know, it wasn't in the planning board section, so maybe it just needs to be more user-friendly or something along those lines. And item 12D, as far as the budget, so I think President Nogales answered the fact that even though the resolution calls for a budget to be introduced before 3/31, we do not expect a meeting to be held to introduce that budget.
Right, it's either that or the next meeting after that date.
Okay, thank you.
There's a little footnote in the document, that's.
Okay, thank you. And finally, I would like to thank the staff, as well as the councilman and Mr. Pappas, and I believe Scott Stevens, for providing me with so much information on the sewer charges over the past 5 years. I am overwhelmed with the amount of information that I have been provided, both by you as well as the Somerset Regional Valley Sewer Authority, who I also reached out to. I'm still in the process of digesting it all, but I do appreciate your response to my requests on all that information. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's no one else, Mr. Kraus, a second bite at the apple, sir. Come on up.
Kraut again.
Sir, if you've already stated it in your prior one, would you not simply recite it at this point? We're looking for new input.
Right. Item 11A on this agenda tonight is basically the introduction of ordinances. And if I go to the website for the council, the shared drive, which is a Dropbox location, and look at 11A, it basically has a 2-page document currently. And it basically indicates whereas all of these conditions have been met, and essentially gets to page 2 and shows that different sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with some verbiage there. It's not very extensive, and the reference at the beginning of that section, which talks about a reference to the RDP that we're talking about for tonight that Mr. Sullivan has updated, it is not attached to this. And when I look this morning, okay, there was an 11A listed there, which had the bulk of the resolution, summary at the beginning, and then 14 total pages of relevant information that seemed to be based on an earlier version of the draft RDP. So mistakes happen, things change during the course of the day. But the bottom line is that the reference that's in the current introduction of ordinances, 11A, it does not explicitly reference the document that somebody posted up on that screen a while ago. And it just doesn't reference the specific document, doesn't reference the revision of it. And I don't know how to link these things together from a legal perspective. Now, ask one question, the question that was raised by Mr. Kirsch regarding whether or not the effectiveness of the redevelopment plan, if it's adopted by the board through, I guess, this resolution, whether or not it will take precedence over an existing land use application. It's not been resolved in my mind. If Mr. Kirsch is resolved, I'm sorry.
It was discussed extensively on Tuesday night.
And what was
That the applicant has the right, if it chooses, to pursue the hearing on Tuesday. Or if they choose not to pursue the hearing on Tuesday, that is also their option. The planning board does not control that. The council does not control that. The mayor does not control that.
Okay, so the existence of a redevelopment plan for the same tract that application is on does not override the need potentially for the applicant to continue.
The applicant will make its decision. I don't represent them. I can't speak for them. That applicant will decide whether or not they want to proceed on Tuesday.
Based upon municipal land use law.
Based on municipal land use law. Now, it is a frequent occurrence, as I think that you've seen, because you are in the 200-foot zone, that there is precedent, in this case and others, for notice to occur if a hearing may happen. So I think at this point, it may or it may not. It is the applicant's choice whether or not to proceed on Tuesday at the zoning board.
That part
And
I
we'll
understand.
know on Tuesday, if not before.
I'm sorry?
If if the applicant decides to pull the notice on Monday, we'll know that. But by Tuesday, we will know for sure what the applicant intends to do. There will not be two situations where the same piece of property has two developments going on at this, two shovels in the ground at the same time.
But on Tuesday, there's also the realistic possibility, since only one of 14 or 13 meetings that have been scheduled to review that property at the zoning board, only one has included professional testimony from the applicant's profession.
We'll have to see.
Okay,
That's
so
up to
it could
the-
continue
that's up to
on.
the applicant.
It could, yes, it can continue
The
on.
applicant will decide by Tuesday as to whether he wants to proceed at the zoning board or suspend that application. We can't presage what's going to happen. We'll come back on Tuesday.
Okay.
Next, please.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Aresti Baloma, okay? And following up with Kurt, if Mr. Sullivan's, it's Table 2, coverage of block requirements for the track. It says the height requirement is 50 feet. Did we just open the door for the warehouse to be built?
No.
No.
Why?
It,
Because
Why?
may I answer? Because this was also discussed on Tuesday night. That table would be applicable in the event that the redevelopment plan is adopted. The redevelopment plan sets the
adopted.
redevelopment plan sets the rules for that property. A warehouse is not going to be permitted under the redevelopment plan. So this
Okay.
is not a situation where you
Okay.
take one from column A and one from column B and one from column C and mix it into something that you want. That is or not that you want, that an applicant wants. That's not the way this process works. There is an active case in front of the zoning board, which we can't influence, can't speak to. What we can speak to is the area in need of redevelopment. That's what we're going to discuss shortly.
I just wanted to make sure, I didn't understand that.
Okay.
So now I understand that this doesn't take precedence at next Tuesday.
It's not going to be a 50-foot warehouse that has a 60% coverage and a 40%. No, it is, if this is what takes precedent, presuming that we move forward and adopt this redevelopment plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Franco has a second bite at the apple also.
I just wanted to clarify why it was that I said that the address was not stated on the agenda, because the agenda that was mailed out on March 18th, the PDF document, did not include the street address or gray mark. It only included the lot and block number. I pulled up the email that I have from that date, and in that introduction, it did not include the street address. So,
I'll take responsibility for that. I proofread to make sure that every document has the street address as well as block and lot. I don't like block and lot because people don't know what they are, where they are, including me. So I
Okay.
like street address.
okay, the other,
I will take it as my mission to make sure that from now, for the rest of this year, my tenure, that we will have a street address or street intersection.
thank you. My other concern about that was I received this around 12:30 in the afternoon before the planning board meeting had even heard the redevelopment plan, and yet this was on the agenda for Thursday night. So it was it just felt to the public like it was a done deal, and that's just a point of information. I don't know if the planning board is required to do a resolution before you can go.
The planning board did a resolution on Tuesday night.
So you can approve it and do the resolution all in one.
We did it that night, yes.
Okay, because generally I see it like approved and then the next meeting a
We
resolution.
have the option to approve it that night, and that's what occurred.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Mr. President, if
Oh,
I
boy.
Mr. President,
Yes.
may I just want to clarify, Ms. Franco, maybe you weren't here, but at the last council meeting, when, as part of my report, spoke about the anticipated planning board hearing or presentation by Mr. Sullivan, I had said that we would then propose, the administration proposed, that Mr. Sullivan be asked to come to this meeting, and that the draft ordinance would at least be placed on the agenda for council's consideration. So that was discussed 2 weeks ago here.
No, I do appreciate that. I mean, there's a lot of balls in the air right
We
now.
were very transparent.
So, okay, thank you very much.
All right. We have one. This is the last speaker and the last bite of the apple. Come up, sir.
Just a follow-up. Now, to you, I got to ask you.
All right, wait a minute. Please direct your questions to me.
Okay. The question would be, if the owner of that property backs out of this warehouse, okay? I don't want to do it. We go ahead and put in his plan, and he comes back and he wants to install the warehouse.
He would not have the opportunity to come back at a future time because the existing code does not permit warehouse. He managed to slip in at a time when it was legitimate for him to be able to apply for a warehouse. He can, on a going forward basis, he cannot do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, could I have a motion to close public
Make
input?
a
moved.
Motion to close.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. For those members of the public who have spoken, thank you very much for coming. Okay, under
Mr.
item 10,
Mr.
public
Coun-
hearing and
Mr.
final.
Mr. Council President, just a very brief comment, just for the record. Ms. Franco stated that I had today.
Oh, please.
Wait. Wait a minute, do you want me to
believe-
speak
I
during the
don't
public
want to go
portion?
there. If a
wanna
person
clear
has
the
come up
record.
here and spoken,
I wanna clear the-
we
I
owe
wanna-
it to them to speak at that point,
I don't
not
think
wait
so.
for them to go home or go out and then start responding.
I just want to clear the record, sir. If I, 10 seconds. Ms. Franco said that I had basically read my statement from the Board of Education meeting here this morning. I did not. That statement is factually inaccurate. My actual statement from the Board of Education meeting is available on my Facebook page that anyone can see, and it is different from my synopsis here this morning, this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay. Item 10, public hearing and final action. There are none. Moving to item number 11, introduction of ordinance. An ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater creating section 126-321.8 of the Township of Bridgewater Code entitled Route 22 Special Development District to establish a set of permitted principal uses, development standards, and related provisions for the redevelopment area designated on lots 1.02, 1.03, 1.04, 2, and 2.1 in Block 221 on the township map of Township Tax Map. That is also known as 1200 Route 22. Mr. Sullivan, would you like to come up or where you're comfortable and as long as you have a microphone.
As long as you're heard
Is the green light
closely
on?
enough to the microphone.
Green light on.
Golden, please.
So I've got a few documents, so thank you. Good evening. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to what this...
Please announce yourself, name and firm, please.
Michael Sullivan, Township Redevelopment Planner, Clark Caton Hints, Trenton, New Jersey. I'll give you a brief introduction, overview of what this plan is intended to do. This is the Graymark Office Tract Redevelopment Plan, and it's a draft. This is draft number 3. I know you don't like blocking lots. Block 221, lots 1.02, 1.03, and 1.04 at 1200 Route 22 East. It's got an existing office building, and it was designated by the Township Council as a non-condemnation redevelopment area in December 2024, December 5th. And it really is meant to revitalize an underutilized property. Although there's an office building, there's been many failed development attempts here. It remains that, and one of the primary findings of our redevelopment study, the preliminary investigation, found that there's dilapidated, unfinished construction on the site that is contributing to stormwater runoff, flooding, and sedimentation and surface water quality degradation. So that's really the purpose of the plan. The plan permits several permitted uses, principal uses, including medical uses, office uses, and research within the existing office building and in that area. It allows for a data center. It allows for indoor recreational facilities, and it also allows, these are all alternatives, the data center, indoor recreation, and the age-restricted housing, up to 250 units of multifamily age-restricted housing. It also permits and requires the development of 3 single-family residential lots along Woodside Lane, and also requires the development of a cul-de-sac to create a safe and compliant terminus to that street. In addition to those principal uses, there are mandatory components of this plan. It does require conservation easements for the stream corridor and associated wetlands. It requires buffering to the new single-family homes along Woodside Lane. It requires acoustic controls and mechanisms for all equipment, including HVAC. And it requires studies to ensure that any of those potential impacts are modeled, and also post-construction remediation of any negative impacts that were not anticipated after construction. That's the general overview. This was discussed at length at the Planning Board during a consistency review on Tuesday night, March 18th. The Planning Board, among other things, found that this plan is consistent with the master plan, which is the required finding for any ordinance or, in this case, a redevelopment plan. Saying that, I did indicate that there was extensive discussion, public questions, public comments, discussion back and forth with the public, very robust. And then that followed, after the public session was closed, with a robust discussion of the issues. And although there were several hours of public discussion, it really boiled down to 4 key items. The first item that was identified and resolved and recommended by the Planning Board for inclusion